Hey guys, Nolar here, back on the 5-9 mobile channel, and today we're going to be talking about some spicy stuff. Some things, this is going to be a little interesting for all you all, but I got Gale here, who's the other gacha king here. He's played as many gachas, if not more than I have, so say hello to the people out there.
Yo, everybody. This one is obviously very tasty because Nexon strikes back, or are they actually in the right here potentially? Let's talk about that.
Yeah, but before we dive right in, for all of you all who are new here, we cover a lot of gaming stuff, mobile stuff specifically. So if you like the content you're going to see, hit that subscribe button. If you want to see more, make sure you hit the notification bell. Hit the like button so, everyone knows you like it, and you share with your friends, share with your mama, all that good stuff. Let's dive right in. All right, so Blue Archive, which has been out for I think about a couple months now. We covered it here on the channel. We did a first impressions and a first playthrough, and again, it's a pretty side game, to be honest. Not something that's your main game, because it's pretty heavy on the stamina usage and slow on the stamina regeneration. It's fairly fun, kind of I think I link it along the lines of Konosuba and Princess Connect, along those lines. But we had some spicy stuff. So back when the game was being launched for global worldwide release, the developers at Nexon and publishers, they were asked if they were going to make any changes coming from the other Asian regions coming over to global, and they specifically said no. There won't be any issues, no changes whatsoever. Well, that was a lie because they apparently censored a few things. Now, obviously, we won't show the stuff here, but the Korean version basically has a fairly young-looking lady, not wearing many clothes, and has her hair covering herself. While in the global version, they don't even have an outside perspective. They just zoom in on her face. Yeah. Which to them, to everyone else, well, you censored, you changed things that shouldn't have been. And yeah, I guess that's right. So just based on the situation that Gail, what are your initial thoughts and impressions on this?
Okay, so it's not really entirely surprising that they've done it. I mean, this is the problem when you promise stuff before without realizing, the ramifications of the situation, right? Because at the end of the day, Each country has different laws, right? So for them to have promised something knowing what was in the game, maybe should it had to get censored, right? At the end of the day, they had to have realized it. I think the biggest problem here isn't necessarily the censorship, because again, you have to kind of follow the laws of each country and whatnot. Like one of the perfect examples, I think it was Danmachi, who actually added like a extra gambling kind of thing, well, like poker games into the game, and then at a point they had to just stop developing it because they realized that they would get into trouble with a lot of the country's laws that they were publishing the game in. Similar to here, it's kind of the same situation where they had to obviously censor things based on obviously countries' child protection laws, or obviously censorship laws, or whatever it may be. And as a result, they kind of had to backtrack on their promise, which is the big issue here, is why did they make that promise when they had to do it in anyways, right? They had to have realized, I assume they have lawyers over at Nexon who go through like multiple countries' copyright laws so that they can actually, know what they can or cannot publish, right? And where they can publish the game. So I'm surprised that they didn't realize that and they were so enthusiastic and said, yeah, no censorship at the very beginning. Apart from that, I don't really mind the censorship. I think a lot of people kind of put too much stock into that point altogether, in my opinion at least. Because at the end of the day, you wouldn't even be playing the game if they didn't censor it, because the game wouldn't even be published at that point in that country. So take the censorship, play the game, or don't take the censorship and don't play the game, kind of thing. So I don't really care about the censorship. The problem is the promise side of things.
Yeah, I think, obviously the problem is people are having issues with it. And I don't necessarily think people have the issues with the censorship and the act of the censorship themselves, like you have explained, because based on what they're complaining about, or what some people are complaining about, yeah, I think they're in the right to do what they're doing, right? It's like, it's not a problem there. The issue, like you mentioned, is they made a promise and broke it. And of course, the reason why that sounds bad, like, oh, well, people make promises and break it all the time. Well, guys, this is Nexon, okay? Nexon's publishing this game, and already if you are a seasoned gotcha player like myself and Gale, you're like, Nexon, I'm out. I'm not touching that thing with the 10-foot pole. You just don't even spend your time on it because it's going to shut it down within the next 6 months or monetize the hell out of it where you have no chance of succeeding as a free-to-play player. And fortunately, so like based on Blue Archive and Konosuba, Nexon Korea, who've been publishing those games, have been doing a pretty good job. But the reason they had to do this obviously is for the loss, right? Like if they want to get the game published, they have to make sure they do what they can. Now, people are taking exception to it because it's Nexon. So that's why right now you see on the screen, Gale has it, that a lot of people are giving out a bunch of 1 stars and 2 stars. Like the rating was at 4.4 yesterday before all this stuff dropped, and now it's at 2.0, which is a huge drop, right? And now, to a question I got for you, Gale, do you think this review bombing is going to do anything to get this stuff rectified? Are they going to uncensor it, or like what do you think the ending result's going to happen here?
I don't think they'll do anything about it because this is always the case. I feel like when you review bomb, and obviously when it's in the control of the developer or publisher, I should say, then sure, there is something they can do. Obviously, if it's something to do with, I mean, for example, when the whole situation with Annie happened in Genshin Impact, nothing changed. Let's be real, right? Even though people review bombed it, people are still playing the game. A lot of it ends up being a bit of like a vocal minority as well. I feel like, you know, people go out of their way to kind of review bomb, but then a month later, everything's back to normal. But in this case as well, another point to add on, they really can't do anything because, again, like I said earlier on, how do you uncensor something when you know you can't? If you do uncensor it, you probably won't be able to publish that game in a specific country anymore, whatever country has those child protection laws or just protection laws in period, right? So to me, I don't see there's any way of, you know, pleasing anybody in this situation, because one way or another Nexon is losing. So at this point they just kind of have to accept it and kind of hope that it kind of dies down after a certain period of time. And also we know that, you know, because of the amount of 1-star reviews, especially coming from a 4.4 star review, Google will probably delete a lot of them because, you know, people aren't, like we've said in the Genshin Impact review, or when we were talking about the Genshin Impact review bombing, people aren't smart. They should be doing 2-star reviews rather than 1-star reviews, because people at Google will think it's just review, like it's an actual review bomb and
spam.
And it's spam. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So people aren't being smart here either.
Yeah, I mean, I understand voicing your concerns, and this is one of the ways to do it. But like in this case, it's very difficult for them to actually give you anything that you want, because, like Gale said, even if they capitulated to the demands of uncensoring it, that might just straight out remove the ability for them to publish the app in those regions, and therefore you can't play the game. Like it's just like a lose-lose situation for Nexon here. Yeah. Yeah, again, I think we both agree that they shouldn't have made a statement like, hey, nothing will change between the two at all. But, you know, here we are. You know, they kind of set themselves up here, and they're going to lose out majorly, because the whole point of reviews, the good point of reviews is like, if I get advertised a game, or I'm interested in a game, and it's got pretty good reviews, and obviously if I personally check them to make sure they're not like bots or paid reviews or stuff like that, just like genuine people who are like, yeah, I like it, but I have a few criticisms or whatever. Cool, like I know what I'm getting into. The first thing I see is the review rating. If it's like 4.2, 4.3, I already know on average, hey, that's a pretty good game. I at least will give it my time of day to look through the reviews and justify whether or not I download and play the game. But if it's at 2.0, that's literally like, nope, I'm moving on to the next one. And I don't even like read those reviews to see if they're bots or whatever, because it's like, well, if the overwhelming majority of them are saying like it's terrible, it's not fun, blah 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 blah, I just move on, right? No matter how good the thumbnail or the icon or the name sounds, it's just like whatever, it's just not worth my time. So we'll see how this plays out. Obviously there's a couple other things. So people send support tickets trying to figure out, is this the only time they're going to censor it? Because obviously it seems a little suspect, like, okay, yeah, that makes sense. Yep. Well, there was someone put in a review, at least on the Thai servers, and said like, are you guys going to censor more stuff? And obviously, you know, it's all in Thai, which I can't read. But it says they the game global version in many countries around the world. Some countries, child protection laws are involved. To prevent the problem, we have cut some out some content so we can provide service without any problem in every country. We promise that we will try to stick to the original game as much as possible. Basically confirming that from here on out, there's probably, if there are issues, they're going to handle it, which is exactly what they did here. And again, I don't blame them for it. It's just people are stickling for the fact that, hey, it's it's Nexon right there. It would have been easier if they never made the PD interview where they promised to not make any changes to illustrations. At least that way, people wouldn't be disappointed as they are now. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I initially started playing Blue Archive in the beginning, and I literally picked it up like 3 days ago. I was like, hey, I'm gonna check it out again, and it is a very good side game. I spend maybe 40 minutes a day. Log in maybe 2-3 times, clear my stam, maybe do a little missions and stories, but that's kind of it. It's fairly nice side game that's fun to play on the side. I don't know. Have you been sticking up with Blue Archive, or did you kind of put it down right when the launch happened?
I play it here and there. It's still downloaded on both my emulator and my phone. I just have 2 accounts that I just casually play either or, depending on if I have the time. Of course, with the other gachas that I play, not that often, but it's here and there. It's still a good game, like you said. And it just, again, like you said at the start of this video, right? It's very much like a Konosuba Princess Connect. Obviously, I have more of an affiliation with Konosuba because I know the characters. Blue Archive and Princess Connect are a bit more difficult to connect to because they're original IPs. But still, I mean, it is a fun game at its core. It's got a good way of, doing its stuff where it doesn't feel like you have to play it consistently, right? So at least that's good, But yeah, I mean, outside of that, it's nothing crazy. It's not a revolutionary game. That's all I'll say on that point.
Okay, well, look, guys, it's not the funnest topic in the world to talk about censorship because there's many forms of censorship here, but in this case, it's more about the, protection of children or people that kind of look like children. I'll say that at best. Yeah. So with that said, you guys let us know in the comments down below. What are your thoughts on this? You think Nexon's screwed? Like, there's the very little trust they gain with Konosuba and Blue Archive, did they just blow it all away by straight up lying? I guess it's the best way to put it. Or do you think this is an overblown issue and all that kind of stuff? Just you guys let us know in the comments. Gail, anything else you want to say before we close this out?
Just checking on the Play Store because I wanted to see if Google were already on it, and they are. It's back up to 3.5 stars right now. A lot of the 1-star reviews have gone. Some of the 2-star reviews seem to have gone as well. So yeah, I'm like we said, it was a good effort. A for effort, probably F for execution. Unfortunately, you guys, there needs to be. You guys need to figure out a better way than review bombing because it just doesn't work. Let's be real.
Yeah, I mean, again, this is the one avenue you guys have to voice your displeasure. I'm sure we're smart enough to figure out how to find another way, or maybe not. We are gacha players, so there's that too, right? So. But anyways, with that said, you guys let us know your comments down below. If you like the video, hit the like button. If you're new here and want to see more 5-9 gaming entertainment, mobile stuff, hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you know when we go live. And with that said, on behalf of myself and Gail, thanks a lot, guys. We'll catch you in the next one. We're out.
Bye-bye.